all right, so if we're going to chunk it for them and we want them to annotate, we need to give them a purpose for annotating, yeah? So the thing that I was thinking about, if we are trying to compare, if our supporting question is how are we comparing capitalism and socialism, from here, what are those questions that we need them looking for in this article?
So what, okay, what I was thinking was, what's for, like, for instance, in a capitalist society,
Mhm.
look for supply and demand.
Okay.
So I guess what drives the economy?
Okay.
So what drives the economy for a capitalistic society? What drives the economy for a socialist?
Okay.
That's one of the factors they can look for. What
Okay.
actually drives the economy?
Yeah. So who's doing the production? Because that goes into the three questions that they all need to answer. I was also thinking that we look at pros and cons for each, because when I read through this, when I'm first reading about the command market economy, I'm like, that doesn't sound so bad. You know, they're producing things, they're making sure that everyone in their society is provided for. And I think that's something really important to note with the kids, that it doesn't sound so bad, but keep that in mind when we're going through to read the USSR Constitution.
But also, it's like, explain communism and socialism to students. I explain, all right, everybody in the classroom, no matter how hard you work, you're all getting a C. They're like, what?
Yeah.
The kid who sleeps gets a C. The kid who does everything gets a C.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's socialism.
In a nutshell, that's exactly what it is. All right, anything else that we might want to, that like kids might struggle with? Are we looking at any speed bumps in here?
I do think that the article, not that this is necessarily a speed bump, does a really good job of pointing out that not every system is like solely that one system. So command market still has like influence outside markets as well, and open market still has influence from the government, which I think people, like kids could lose track of slightly. But I feel like the reading the other documents is going to reinforce, like, essentially the two, especially I saw the graphic organizer.
Yep. So with that graphic organizer, they're eventually going to look at both the U.S. Constitution and the USSR Constitution and pull, what works for each of them. But before we leave the essay, how are we, if we're going to do pros and cons for it, how are we collecting that? Or is this just like a class consensus? Are we just doing an open discussion with the class? Or do we want to put something on the whiteboard? I don't think it's...
I would whiteboard.
Yeah?
So you could have visualization.
Okay. So pros and cons on the whiteboard. And then how are you planning on asking students to help you develop the pros and cons?
Paragraph by paragraph.
Okay.
Like, because masters, I'll break it down. Like, all right, what do we grab what information we need from here?
Okay.
Is that a good thing? This is a bad thing? Which side are we gonna put it on?
Okay.
And then as we keep further into it, oh, now this is toward this side.
Yeah, they have to pull specific evidence.
Yes.
To back up whatever they just said. They can't just, this is good or this is bad because of whatever.
Cool.
Yeah, because I have to highlight evidence.
Yep.
All the time.
Yep.
I like them writing notes in their annotations that are, it has to be like some kind of substance. Sometimes people just go through and they just highlight.
Okay.